and welcome back to the Diamond Download, dude. Oh my, what has it been, like 3 weeks since we've done
Yeah,
this?
minimum of 2. Been a couple weeks. How are you, brother? I miss you.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't know if you've seen on TikTok. I'm kind of going through it lately.
I saw a little bit. I don't really know what's happening. I saw like the guy's video and I kind of missed. Like I don't really understand what he was even saying or doing. Like I was waiting for like the diss and I didn't really see it.
So it started with him saying my office was fake, and then that I have no experience copywriting, and then that I work on Fiverr for $70 a pop. And then I made a video explaining about how I've had like I listed some of my old clients from way back in the day because I'm not going to reveal my current clients. And then I said like I don't use Fiverr, and I explained the office thing. I was like, dog, it's like a co-working space. Like I never go there. I just use it every once in a while. I made a video in the office, and then he was like, well, it's still fake because there's a welcome brochure. It's not a welcome brochure. It's just a piece of paper. It's like an announcement paper. It's about the Wi-Fi. You can zoom in and see that shit, dude. And that's what I've realized is like arguing with people on the internet um is not that fun. Also because like people in general, like the mainstream don't like people that have courses, and it's just the fact that I have a course that makes people think like this guy's a piece
Yeah.
of shit. So I'm kind of just I'm just doing my thing out here, man. I'm happy to be on this podcast right now, I'm not gonna
Same.
lie.
Do you think it's worth like even clapping back? Like is it I guess because it went so viral, you kind of have to defend yourself and your honor. But had it not gone so viral, like would it have been worth even saying anything back? Like what are your thoughts?
No, if it didn't go crazy, dude, it got like 5 million views the first
It's
video.
insane.
So I had to say something. But like he's not even playing with facts now. Like he's just saying anything that's gonna get views. And so like whatever, I'm chilling, bro.
Yeah. Do you,
We've had a banger day too. Like it doesn't seem to be affecting. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe we'll see what happens the next couple weeks. But business still
yeah, I was
good,
gonna
man.
say it's like that saying like there's no such thing as like bad press. You think this is overall like a net positive? Obviously, right? You wish it never happened. All of it's not true. It's a fake video. The guy's just trying to sell eyes. Um, but like, do you wish it didn't happen, or you find that it happened? Like, did it help you or hurt you, or net kind of neutral?
You know that old story of the Chinese farmer chase?
No, which one?
It's basically just like um. So there's a old farmer, and like there's a horse that like gets hurt, and they're like, "Oh, that's terrible. Your horse is hurt." And he's like, "Well, we don't know yet." And then they somehow get a new horse because for some reason, and they're like, "Oh, that's great that you got a new horse." And then he's like, "Well, we don't know yet." And then the horse, one of his sons is riding the horse, and then the kid falls off and hurts himself. And they're like, "Oh, that's terrible that your horse got hurt, or that your kid got hurt." And he's like, "Well, we don't know yet." And then the kid doesn't have to go to war. Like he basically draft dodges because he's injured. And then they're like, "Yeah, well, I mean, it sucks that or it's good that your kid didn't have to go to war." So you know what I mean? Where it's like things kind of are always kind of either good or bad, but you only know. I butchered that, by the way. But you only know if you like really see it through. So I have no idea, bro. I have no idea. Right now it's neutral. I'm not tripping
Yeah, the
whatsoever.
takeaway.
But you are gonna get some comments. You are gonna get some comments under this video that are talking about Office 85. I guarantee you
Okay,
that.
we'll see. Maybe it helps the algo boost the
Yeah.
views. So,
Yeah.
um,
All right. Well, let's jump into this. So you the okay. So the reason you were away last week was because you were shooting some course content, and we're not gonna name names or anything. But the person that you were shooting with and for is one of the biggest in the game, right? Like he's been around for a long time, and he's got unlimited bankroll to do things the right way. It's basically like the same as shooting with like a network, like a TV network. You know what I mean? It's like CBC flew out to do something like that. And so I'm assuming that while you were doing that and watching how this guy operates, through his team and through the gear that they do, like, why don't you explain kind of like what you've learned by sort of dealing with this guy's team, and if there's anything that you would implement for
yeah,
yourself?
for sure. And all this will come out, you know, who I worked with and what I worked on probably in the coming weeks. He himself was not present in LA. It was his team. It was like his chief content guys was two kind of like cinematic kind of videographer guys. But I've been dealing a lot with him kind of on calls and just text message. So I've kind of been seeing how he operates that way. And I've got some cool stuff coming there. Um, But I think for me, like, there was definitely a lot of learnings. I think for one, like, I kind of was helping scout locations just for fun and kind of seeing and understanding like how they scouted locations versus how I did it was really interesting. I was just looking for places that like seemed cool and places that like on the surface seemed like they could work. And then when I really understood like why they picked the place that they picked and how they went about it, I'm like, oh wow, like I didn't even see that. I didn't even know like why we were looking for the things that we were looking for. And we basically rented like this mansion in Los Angeles. I think it was like $2,000 or $3,000 a night. So it wasn't cheap, wasn't, ridiculous. And the reason they picked that place was because it had like 4 or 5 or 6 built-in sets. Like they had like a really cool night scene where we had like the fireplace on in the background. They did this really cool part of like the trailer and kind of this intro scene and like the center of the house where you could see like the grandiose staircase and you could kind of see just like the magnitude of the house. We did some really cool scenes upstairs. So like in their mind, they were looking for specific shots, which was based upon like what they called like a trailer treatment. So they basically pre-scoped out like kind of like where we're gonna shoot, the vibe, the style, and their whole thing came down to like basically like business meets creativity. So it's almost like an Apple-esque type commercial where it's very creative and fun and innovative. And then based off my personality not being flashy, like they weren't gonna choose like the nicest mansion they could have chose, or they weren't gonna make me do like a car scene. It was a little bit more around like being kind of humble. So they put together this thing called like a trailer treatment that kind of outlined like how the shoot would be and the colors and the feel and the look. And they picked like movie scenes that would kind of be like similar to it. So I just learned a lot about like this process that goes into it. When I record a course or a video or some kind of thing, some kind of training, etc., I just flip on Loom or Zoom and I hit go. I don't really script it. I don't really think about it. I just kind of free it. I don't edit it. So I think like just seeing their thoughtfulness and seeing like the degree in which they really cared, like the perfectionism, having to reshoot scenes and say something slightly different or say something slightly more excited or more serious. Like everything really mattered. It was all about like the details between the details. So it was cool. It was really interesting.
Dope. I mean, yeah, like I'm assuming a lot of that stuff, like yeah, it's expensive. Like I don't know many people that would spend that much money to shoot a course like that. But what is there anything that you think you can use, like in your own business, like anything you've learned from them, where it's like, oh, I'm gonna try that.
A couple of things. I think I just throughout the weekend and throughout the week was just picking their brains on like why they chose this or how they set this up and kind of like why even the order of the course. Like we started in the middle of the course filming it versus starting at the beginning. And they're like, we start in the middle because the beginning actually is the most important. Like your introduction and your kind of first impressions the most important. And typically most instructors like aren't comfortable and aren't warm on the first go. So they actually made me go from like middle to end to start. So that way by the end of it, right, which was technically the beginning of the shoot, I was like dialed in. I was comfortable with the 3 people. I was comfortable with the cameras. So it just made me think about like, oh, maybe you don't always have to start from the beginning, right? And even maybe with like writing copy, it's like maybe you write the copy and then you figure out the hook, right? And some people start with the hook and then they write the copy. So I kind of was just trying to equate like some of their stuff to my own knowledge and terminology. And even too, like them waiting till the sunset and doing like the fireplace set. And then we did this like crazy scene where we changed kind of some of the times on the microwaves and we filmed it as most of it was like 2:22 a.m. And we did this pretty crazy like refrigerator scene where I'm like walking down the stairs of this mansion. I'm going to the refrigerator to grab a water. Then I'm going to sit down and kind of continue working. And then I go to the fireplace and kind of just I'm lounging, kind of scrolling different things on my phone. So just like the whole thought process of like how they think through this was interesting. And I think for me, like the biggest takeaway was like really, and we've talked about this, like the importance of video. The importance of video to be able to connect with the audience in a way that you couldn't through something that was written. I think more than anything, like I just left being like, A, really fired up. B, like I want to be more intentional about doing more video. I've already been looking at like Airbnb around like locations by me that could be kind of cool. I'm starting to vet like different types of people that could help, right? Obviously through this podcast, we've got a great video editor, we've got great thumbnails. So I'm just trying to think about people that could maybe like help with scripting, maybe people that could help with these types of things that I'm missing and really try to put the piece together and just maybe do like 1 or 2 days a month, just like hardcore filming to try to get content for the month. So thinking about batching better, thinking about just like storytelling through film that like I'm kind of lacking on. So I think personally, I feel like I kind of matured and grew up in terms of like the video sense of understanding why and what and how that actually goes from A through Z.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, that's all super cool. Um, I one of my favorite things about these guys is that they want everything to be beautiful just for the sake of it looking beautiful
Yeah.
because like the video itself is art. I think it's I mean, dude, like in the past, like you and I have both done the same sort of like utilitarian videos where it's like like when I filmed Copy MBA, dude, it was like 2 years ago now, and I was just like screen sharing a Google Doc, and it's great and it's very helpful. But like, what would have been different if I did rent a mansion and did make it super
Yeah.
professional? And I like that people are doing that. I think that and I'm also like before you even told me that, like I was thinking about ways to incorporate stuff like that into what I'm about to do with YouTube. And um yeah, I think it's all right to put extra effort into things that can't ROI just because it would be sick. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a cool way to look at things where it's like, hey, like, this is going to cost us money and it's not going to make a huge difference, but like, let's just do it because that's who we are. You know what I mean? Let's just try and brand this as something amazing because we're amazing.
Yeah, and I think that like ethos really was apparent through the guys on the team, through obviously the central guy. Like, do everything to the best of your ability or don't do it all. I mean, dude, they had like these red cameras that like the camera itself was like 60 or 70 grand, plus some of the other like, filters and clips or lenses, whatever it was, is another like 15, 20 grand. So, I mean, some of the equipment, like one camera alone with all its accessories is just shy of 100 grand, right? And we had multiple cameras, had multiple people, you know, I felt like they really did it well. I mean, dude, they told me I could have literally gone anywhere in the world I wanted. I wanted to stay close to my family, so I tried doing Orange County, but literally nothing in Orange County fit their vibe and kind of the aesthetic that they wanted. So even from the beginning, like I thought they were being difficult, but now and being on the other side of it, I get kind of a greater appreciation of like, no, it's part of the process. Like we have to do it the right way, like or else we're not going to do it. So a lot of things that I thought like, oh man, like am I being crazy? Like, why can't we just do Orange County? And I was thinking about like my own convenience. Yeah, some of these guys traveled 25 hours each way to be there. So just the fact that they did that, um, they really studied up on like drone regulations of where we were, and like they just did everything to like the best degree. And I think it's going to be like the best possible product. They are really experts and pros. So it's cool to be able to work with people like that and really learn from them because I'm such a noob in that area. Again, I'm not an expert by any means, but I feel like I got like a master class within the handful of days.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, it's stories like this that just sort of tell everyone why like this guy
Yeah.
is the GOAT. You know what I mean? He is the GOAT. Like there's nobody bigger than
Everyone
him,
copies him.
doing what
Dude,
he's doing.
everyone copies him.
Huh?
Like that's the hard part that they were saying is like they're kind of like Mr. Beast. Like they have to innovate so hard and they have to keep the level of standard and keep pushing that level of standard because everyone, as soon as they drop something, knocks them off. Um, and it almost seems like they're copying other people just because people are copying them so quickly, but like they are the ones innovating. It's pretty impressive.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you got a chance to do that. I think it's always good to sort of be around people like that, even if you're not, like getting a direct like how to. I think just like being around that energy. Like I'm going to dinner tonight with a guy who is also a sick personal brand,
Cool.
like really, really good. And we're probably not even really going to talk about that kind of stuff. Like I doubt that I'm going to sit there and be like, so tell me, like, how did you grow to this many followers on Instagram? I'm not going to do that. But like, there's just stuff that you pick up just being around these guys. Like actually, when was it? It was right before the Webby I did. Like I guess a couple weeks ago, I went to dinner with Rob, like Rob the Bank, Mr. 4 to 8, and TJR Trades. Homies, like they're all ahead of me, in many different ways. And it was cool for me to just sort of like soak it in and be like, all right, this is the caliber of person that does really well online with these types of businesses.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, no, you did a cool what's it, 4th of July? You did something cool with a bunch of the big personal brand guys. That looks sick.
Mhm. Yeah, dude. Will Rivera, Will Change Lives is on my boat, and so was Sneeko. Do you know who Sneeko
I
is?
didn't know who he was until you said that, and I looked him up. I'm like, oh wow, that's impressive.
He's mainstream. He's cool. He's also, yes, super dope guy. Dude, that's another example of someone. It was going back to the thing we talked about at the first part, where it's like someone who's just like unfairly maligned. He gets a lot of shit on Twitter and YouTube and stuff. Just like, I don't know. I guess maybe he says stuff that like maybe he shouldn't be saying, but like, good dude, solid guy, smart, definitely knows content, and he's where he's at for a reason. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something I learned too, just kind of like talking, one on one via text or kind of one on one on video calls with the guy I did the course for. Um, it's not an accident that he's successful. It's not an accident that the guy that you were with is successful. It's intentional. It's planning. It's relentless effort. It's just sheer determination. Um, in like with who I'm kind of filming with and who you're talking about, like I thought that he was the real deal, and talking to him one on one, I was like more than confirmed that he was the real deal. Very intelligent, very kind, very humble, which is really cool, right? You see like these big personalities, you're not really sure like, is that an act? Is it not? And I can confirm like the guy I filmed with is the real deal. He's very cool, very smart, and almost like I don't think people realize how smart he is because it's just for the masses, and you kind of have to like you're writing copy, speak to like a fifth grader. I almost feel like he has to
Hmm.
speak at a less intelligent level to be mass there. So I think like those kinds of people kind of really surprise you with like how intelligent they actually are.
Hmm. Yeah. Dude, I could go on that all
Yeah,
day.
let's do the next
Just like
topic. Yeah.
all the people. Yeah. No, I mean, like the idea of like you have to really dumb it down for people to like to go mainstream. Like you can't be talking about high level stuff on a TikTok or an Instagram reel and expect to get millions of views. It's just not gonna happen. It's just not the way it works,
You
bro.
bet you on TikTok,
I
right?
actually,
Like you are obviously a very intelligent copywriter, very smart guy, but in your TikToks, like you really just sound like a normal dude. Like you really sound like someone's friend that's teaching them copywriting, not like someone that's been doing it for 4 or 5 years, done tens of millions of dollars in copywriting.
I
Yeah, of
appreciate that,
course.
man. Thanks, man. Um, yeah. All right. Let's jump to the next thing. So next topic, cool app you discovered. So this came to mind because I just got off like basically a sales call for this one SaaS that I'm gonna start using soon, probably. And I just thought it was so interesting because it's just like I've been around marketers and software guys for so long that I kind of know everything that software can do. Like anytime someone says like, "Oh, we do this for this," I'm just like, "Okay, that's an API, it does this, and AI does it." You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to sort of predict what people could build, but anytime I hear a product that's like, "Huh, I didn't know you could do that," that's actually really interesting. I always get kind of hyped up about it. Do you have one in mind too, right?
Not necessarily an app, but I do have a website that I thought was kind of interesting.
Okay. Do you want to go first or
I'll
should
just share
I?
mine quickly. I think yours are gonna be better. Um, kind of
Okay.
on the last stuff we were just talking about, like the inspiration I took from there around trying to find places to film that are cool. Obviously, right, there's like Airbnb and VRBO or whatever it is. But there was one I found called Peerspace. And by the way, no affiliation, no ad. I haven't used them. And I remember going back, like we used to use them actually at the agency for content shoots. And I know Nick actually rents his house out on this place. But essentially, what it is like instead of someone Airbnb your house, you can basically, quote unquote, Airbnb your house, but specifically for an hour, 4 hours a day for people specifically to do like creative content shoots, photo shoots, video shoots, whatever it might be. So I just thought that was a cool use case where it's like, I don't want to rent my house out to people to sleep in my bed if this is my primary, but I might want to have extra income, not me, but like I'm speaking for other people. They might want to have extra income if they're away traveling or if they work out of their house, like, at an office or something. They might be able to make a couple $100s a day letting people film within their space. So I thought that was kind of cool, and I think I would probably book something here on Peerspace or Airbnb in the next week or two to start filming. I thought that was kind of a cool site.
That is super cool. Yeah, because it's like the headache of Airbnb is like, what are you guys gonna do in my house? Kind of
Yeah,
thing, where it's like, what are you gonna do in there? Like, I yeah, I would get stressed out if whether it was my primary or even just a house that I liked, like one that I kind of owned, like having people in there, like dude, throwing parties and shit like that, um, or just like making a huge mess. Like I would never want to do that. I can't even think of, but yeah, it sounds like something that. is safe. It sounds like you're not gonna have to clean up too much. Like, it sounds like a solid deal for both
Yeah, for
ends.
sure, and they have, like, use cases too, like, you could say, "I wanna do a podcast," and they actually have, like, podcast studios, like, in your area that you can rent, like, they have all the equipment, they have all the sets. So, like, for example, if you came into town and we wanted to do, like, an in-person podcast, we could go on Peerspace and just find something that has the setup. So they have houses or, like, actual, like, commercial buildings, so that was one I thought was pretty cool. What about yours?
That's also cool because, like, dude, in Miami at least, like, there's a lot of, like, little podcast spaces, but they're all so, like, studio-y. You know what I mean? Where it's like they got the fucking neon sign. There's a TV behind you where you can put your
Yeah,
logo, and they got mic. Dude, the one that I did, I rented this out maybe twice. The one that we actually used was it was a podcast between me, Ben, and this guy that you probably don't know. His name's Grant. Cool guy on Twitter, like just moved to Miami. Really, really solid dude. Anyway, the ceilings were like it's like 6.5 foot ceilings.
yeah.
Like you feel like you're in someone's basement. Like it's super cramped. It's just it looks like you're doing a pod I would love to have something where it's just like I'm gonna look this up as soon as we're done here. I'm gonna try and find a crib to do some sort of video in
Sick.
where, like, we can go and it looks like a natural sort of living space, and I just so happen to be talking my shit there. It's not like a room to film shit, you know what I mean? Like, I like stuff that's a little bit more multi-purpose like that, so that's super
Cool.
cool.
Hell yeah. What's yours?
Okay, so my thing is called Beamly, and most people haven't heard of this. The founder is sort of like a personal brand kinda guy. I only know him because I did a podcast with him. Shout out Frank. I just talked to him like an hour or
Okay.
2 ago, and he has this tool that it's sort of like a multi-purpose thing to help you grow on Instagram, but it's not what you would
Okay.
think. There's like it's so okay, so first of all, my first question was like, am I gonna attach like some sort of third party app or bot to my Instagram that's gonna shut me down and get me banned? Because I don't want that to happen. I want my
Yeah,
Instagram.
yeah.
And he was like, "No, it's not that. It's basically like it's not a third party app. It's like a robot that logs into your actual Instagram and basically acts like a person. And so like Instagram would never see it because it's just like it's a it's a robot, but it's logged in. It looks like a person doing what it's about to
Okay.
do. So the main thing that it does is like sort of community engagement to like help make people feel like closer to you online. So like if you have a need, let's say you're an agency, right? And you're trying to find clients for email
Okay.
marketing, or you're trying to, you have a product about email marketing, you can put in that tag, email marketing, digital marketing, you know, email copywriting, whatever, into the bot, and it will go and engage with people that are in that niche and like kind of get them to follow you. So like it's not like the scammy thing where it's like, hey, check DM. It's not like outbound like that, but like it likes stuff. It'll view stories and like stories. It'll vote on
Wow.
polls. Yeah, super weird. Where it's like, oh, I didn't even know that that could do that. And so that's kind of interesting. At least for me, like the way we work, it was like someone sees that I'm watching their story. They're like, Cardinal Mason's watching my story. Like what? And then so here's the craziest thing, which I think is so sick. You know what a close friends is on
Yeah.
Instagram? Okay, so it bulk adds people who follow you to your close friends on Instagram. And what that does is like, when you see a close friends thing, like that's the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
first thing you click on. You're like, what is like, I'm on this, like, this is the most important thing. It goes right to the front of your thing too. And it does it in a way where it doesn't look, again, disruptive or scammy or anything to Instagram. Like it doesn't, throw off any red
Yeah,
flags.
wow.
But all of a sudden you have in my case, I have like 87,000. 87,000 people are now seeing my thing at the very beginning of their um like I guess their scroll thing at the top. And
Dang.
like so I normally get like between 10 and 15,000 story views. Um which is not bad for my account, but bro, I could end up at like 25, 30K
Wow.
if I'm using close friends. And it just feels more personal. It's like, wait, Mason threw me on his close friends. Like that's cool. Like I didn't even know that he knew who I was.
Dang, dude.
And so it's like a
That's
tool for
sick.
engagement. Dude, imagine okay, so like when I do a call to action on Instagram, like DM me this, I'll get like, yeah, again, 8 to 10,000 people to see it. If I 4x that, whole new audience that loves this shit. You know what I mean? It's just so much easier to get visibility. I'm stoked, and it's it's not as expensive as you would think. I thought they were gonna price it like an agency, where it's like, because dude, all these Instagram fucking growth agencies are so expensive. Um, but this guy, like, it's it's not like a $20 a month SaaS, but it's way cheaper than you would think that is because of the
Is
ROI
it
you'll
based
get. It's
on
really cool.
following size? Like, does it matter how many followers you have?
I think a
Okay.
little bit, but no, it looks like from the invoice that he sent me, there's just like a flat rate kind of thing. Again, by the way, I haven't used this yet. I literally signed on like 2 hours ago.
Nice.
Uh, but so I don't want to encourage anyone to use it yet. I'm just
That's
saying
sick.
I know a couple people that have done all right with it so far. I think they've been on for like a couple weeks, and um, and it might be sick. I think the use case is cool.
Dude, sick. Hell yeah. I'm gonna ask you more about it after. That's sick.
All right, you want to move
Yeah.
on?
What's our last topic?
Last thing is obviously we just need a little LinkedIn biz update. But so I want you to tell me how things are going, obviously, because it's been a while. I feel like we haven't done one like a month or two. And also, dude, I really do want to do LinkedIn. I don't know how well my current sort of like Twitter personality would do on LinkedIn. Because a lot of your like I guess peers aren't really a fan of me. Like I'm not big on like D2C Twitter or anything like that. Like they don't like me and I don't like them either. But I do want to I want to see what I can do on there because I feel like it's just an untapped channel of just people I've never like been with. Like, what do you think you would do if you were me? But first go into like how everything's going, like what you're working on and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
dude. I'd say about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had a really, really big update. We officially launched a community and like a group for all of our clients. So we made like a WhatsApp group where we basically have multiple channels, like a channel called General, which is really for knowledge sharing. So people are talking about how like we help them get a top voice badge in email marketing or copywriting, whatever it is. And other clients were like, oh shoot, like we didn't know that you guys even offered this. It's just like a complimentary thing in our service where we help people get these badges. So then we started having one client in this group tell other clients how quick they got it and how many posts they had to answer and this whole thing. And then before you know it, like we had dozens of new people like getting these badges that we helped them get with. So on LinkedIn, essentially, there's like these community voice badges where it's like copywriting, sales, marketing, e-commerce, etc. And we actually have a way to help people get these badges very quickly. We've had some clients try for 3 or 6 months, not knowing we helped with it without success. And literally within 5 hours, within 24 hours, within 72 hours, we're helping people get this badge. So just like the knowledge sharing component of like the group has been huge. And then also two, we now have subgroups in there that's based off your following range. So 0 to 5K, 5 to 10K, 10 to 15K, 15K to 20K, whatever it is, where you can now help support people. You can give feedback on their content. You can help them, grow their following through boosting them. So we made this group, which I had been putting off for a long time, just since I didn't want to manage it. And it's actually now been managed by the members. So we have like 150, 160 people in there so far. We're rolling this out to like all the rest of our clients. And I think this is going to be such a sticking point where people don't want to cancel the service because now they have this group. You don't want to get kicked out of the group. And also, too, it's just a huge value add where like people are realizing all the things we actually do. So not that our churn was ever terrible, but I think this is going to reduce our churn to like virtually zero. Obviously, it's never going to be zero, but I think like this group aspect of just like friendship, community, engagement, plus the service we offer already is great. We added my wife's profile to the mix too. She has like 11 or 12,000 followers now. She's growing pretty quickly. We're creating content for her account. She's now kind of in the mix, engaging with everyone in our service. I mean, dude, there's so many updates. We literally just hit 1 million followers in the network that we own. So across my page, Jamie's account, which is my wife, and our network of accounts, we're now at 1 million followers. And I think there's probably like half a dozen people like in the world that have grown like an audience to 1 million people on LinkedIn. Obviously, right, there's a lot of celebrities, but like normal people, like, if you're not Ryan Reynolds or Snoop Dogg or whoever you might be, out of like normal people, influencers, like growing to 1 million is not like an easy thing. Like Justin Welsh, who's like a GOAT of LinkedIn, probably has like 500,000, 600,000. And a lot of these other guys have 200, 300, 400,000, but across our network, we're at 1 million now, which is cool. So those are kind of some of the quick updates. There's a lot.
And you're doing ghostwriting too, right?
And finally caved into the ghostwriting after 12 plus months of you just talking my ear off about it. We finally caved in. And it's like I was telling you, it's going really, really well. So we're pumped. Clients are pumped, and it's going to be a huge value add.
Yeah. We haven't really talked about ghostwriting, but like kind of crazy. Um, that's gonna slap. I feel like that's yeah. So many people want that. Like, dude, I'm not writing I'm getting a ghostwriter for sure. Probably from my own one of my
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, yeah. I mean, dude,
Um,
where we're pricing it right now, the growth plus ghostwriting is probably the cheapest on the market, and I think it's probably the highest quality. Or maybe not the cheapest, it's probably somewhere between low to mid end of the pricing, but the quality is probably going to compete with anyone. The content, the writing, the network, the growth, it's really cool, dude. I know you've helped me kind of piece this all together through some of your intros, and just seeing it form together and seeing it kick off and work with clients and getting the feedback, it's been sick. So, and by the way, I haven't even promoted it all. Like this has just been like I had 4 or 5 people come inbound. I haven't even promoted it. So I'm excited to like start talking about this and actually telling people what we're doing. And we'll probably start building a wait list for it.
100%, dude. I got 8
Okay.
savages waiting in the wings right now. They're going to rip.
Heck
So
yeah.
I'm super
Heck yeah.
excited. I've seen the stuff that they're producing, and I know it's gonna be good. I know this stuff's gonna slap.
Amazing. And Boas, let's go back to you. So I'd say in terms of like your Twitter stuff, I found that Twitter content can work on LinkedIn. LinkedIn content doesn't really work on Twitter. So I don't think like all of the stuff that you say, because I think a little bit more now, you talk about a little bit, I think more like mindset and lifestyle and kind of business. I think some of that stuff potentially could fit. I think a lot of like the threads and the tips and the tricks on copywriting, and those types of things that you were doing, I think like repurposing those would do really, really well. Like the actionable content would be really great. And I think maybe some of like the motivational, inspirational business mindset stuff could work as well, although probably in a lesser capacity. So I would take like all your popular copywriting stuff, and that would probably be where I'd start. You know, as you're sharing like, you know, e-commerce, email marketing, kind of copywriting type tips, or as you're sharing landing page copywriting tips, like any of those tips and tricks that you did really well, threads and other, I think those would do really, really well on LinkedIn for you.
So you think just with like if I go back in time to all my tweets that I've made about copywriting, email, freelancing, getting clients, all that stuff, you think I could just literally ride out probably 3 months of LinkedIn just going through old stuff?
Yeah, like I was gonna try to pull up your account real quick. So like if I typed in like, I use Twitter Advanced Search a ton. So if I go to like if I type in like copywriting, if I type in like Cardinal Mason, and if I sort something by like minimum of let's say 100 likes, I'm just gonna search that real quick. Um, yeah. So I mean, dude, like we talk about like I remember you actually. I'm looking at my screen right now. You had wrote this email template for the email thing I was doing. And you know, the power of copywriting. Wrote this in 4 minutes, not hard. And I'm not going to talk about it now. It was a little bit rated R, but like that was like a really funny one where like you just described how this fake product has helped, you know, men find, you know, X, Y, and Z for women. Right. Uh, and then too, like, right, like you have
Yeah.
another thread here. It says like, if you're a beginner in building an agency, copywriting, sales, email marketing, keep reading this. This is for you. And then in this, right, you kind of talk about like, you know, the experience and how to get clients and, you know, other things. I think that would do great. Um, right. You gave people like a copywriting exercise. Like the exercise I can give you is find a product, make a huge claim, justify it in 20 words, or sorry, 200 words. I think some of those things would be really great. You know, and you already have the social proof, so you could even screenshot like the Twitter stuff that has. You have one here that has 359 likes. You've got one that has 308. Got another one that has 325. You know, 500. Right? Like you have all the social proof. It's already proven. You already did the work. Now it's just like bringing that over to LinkedIn, and I think you would do really well.
Dope. All right, that's it. I'm gonna be a LinkedIn influencer. I can't wait.
Yeah, do it. I mean, dude, we're posting
Yeah.
on Jamie's account, my wife's account. In the last 7 days, she's had like 560,000 impressions or something. Like she gained like 12 or 1,400 followers in the past couple of days alone. Like, you know, her account now is at I think 11 or 12,000 followers. And I mean, we just started posting again a few weeks ago and went from like 8 or 9,000 to 11,000 in like a month. Like it's pretty
She
easy.
posting like mom content?
No, she's just sharing like business content. So, um,
Oh word.
right, so the exact number is 594,000 impressions in the last 7 days. She's had 4,410 people view her profile. And some of her posts are getting like hundreds and even thousands of likes. Like Her post yesterday had 222 likes. Her post the day before actually had 4,400 likes, had 295K impressions. The one before that had 116 likes. So she's kind of repurposing some of my content. We're creating kind of some unique content from her. She's kind of posting other people's content that's already gone viral, giving them credit. So it's kind of like a hybrid approach just to make it manageable.
Dope. I love it,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
It's good stuff.
Good episode.
Make Jamie famous.
Yeah, exactly. Trying.
Make me famous, bro. I'm trying to get famous. I'm done with TikTok. I'm over
TikTok
that shit.
people are
Let's do
savage. I think
LinkedIn.
people on LinkedIn are nicer.
Okay, good. That's what I need. I need some nice
Hell
people
yeah.
that believe I have
Dude,
enough.
this has been too long. I'm glad that we did this.
I know, man. We should be doing these a couple times a day, I think.
Every day. Yeah, no, but we're gonna get back to
Yeah,
we're gonna get back to weekly for sure.
dude, 3 podcasts a day. Let's just do it.
All right, down if you're down. Sweet, bro. This was great.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you on the internet somewhere. My name is Carter Mason. That's Chase Diamond over there. We're gonna see you guys next week.
Cheers.
Peace.